Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Fly Me to the Philippines.
From our home in Cagayan de Oro, overlooking the Cagayan de Oro River. How to expat like a pro. And stick around, we're gonna give you tips on how to meet a girl in a mall. 5 specific methods for meeting a girl in a mall in the Philippines. Stick around for that.
What's that?
I don't know. Probably a gun.
Sounds like a gun.
It is a gun.
Should hide.
No.
You know, the bullet could go here.
Well, we're behind a wall.
No, I'm not. I could die anytime here.
Okay, it may be a car backfiring. So,
It's not.
we don't know.
Rob, you have something special that you want to talk today. What is that all about?
Chrissy, today we're going to talk about how to expat like a pro. There's a right way to expat, Chrissy, and a wrong way to expat, Chrissy. And you've seen some of my consulting clients. They've been coming to town.
Yes.
And some of them, Chrissy, have integrated themselves immediately into the expat community, and they seem to be doing everything right.
Yes.
And others, Chrissy, not so much.
Yeah, not so much.
They're having some problems. And what I want to talk about today, we've done the 90-day plan. We've done the 30-day exploration plan. This is for your first 7 to 10 days in country. If you don't want to go splat when you get here and have a horrible time and think that the Philippines is noisy and trafficky and full of trash and not the place for you, hot, stinky, humid, and you can't understand what I've been showing you and all the special places we've been going, today I want to talk to people about how to expat like a pro, how to make sure your first 7 to 10 days in country go smoothly.
Okay, Rob, take it away.
So this may be your first solo trip. This may be your first trip to Asia. And I've been showing you, oh, the weather's amazing. I get roasted chickens delivered. I go to the waterfalls, I'm golfing with the buddies, I'm playing cards with my expat friends, and you're here and you're like, it's loud, it's noisy, it's dirty. You know, every city in the Philippines kind of looks the same. You know, infrastructure could be better in Davao, Bohol can be a little cleaner, Baguio is going to be a little bit more built up, more touristy, BGC looks more like a corporate environment. Makati's a little bit more plush with beautiful malls, great restaurants, lots of foreign tourists. But for the most part, when you get away from these places, all of the Philippines looks the same. And if you're just plunked down there and you haven't done your homework and you're not sure what to do and you're not hooked up tight with a girl who lives in that city, who can kind of steer you around, you are going to be a little bit solo traveling, kind of butthurt. Whether you're coming to Cagayan de Oro, CDO, or you're going to Dumaguete, or you're going up to the mountains of Baguio, or you're going to be in BGC, it doesn't really matter. There's a way to do it so you can maximize your opportunity. Now, if you've been long distance chatting a girl for 3, 4, 5 months, you're probably on a different glide path. She's going to meet you at the airport. You're going to be in her hometown possibly. She's going to know the places to go. You're going to stay near her family. You're going to be on a slightly different glide path. You're going to have a better time of expatting. What I want to talk about today is perhaps when you meet that girl at the airport, 3, 4, 7 days later, you realize she's just not the one for you. There's no chemistry, and you need to blow out of that long distance relationship and you'll be on your own. Or if you've struck out, but you've just made the decision to come and change your life and have a new life, you've come to the Philippines, you've seen some of the videos that I've done, and you are going to go forward, but you don't have a woman yet. So you've heard it's easy to meet women, so now you're going to come to a city that you want to explore. And that very, very first city is going to be kind of critical for you to experience what the Philippines is really like. And a lot of people go to Cebu City. And I've mentioned Cebu City has a lot of traffic. A lot of people will go to the Quest Hotel and spend $55 a night. They'll get a 4-star hotel experience. They can walk 2 or 3 blocks to Ayala Mall. They're going to go to Bo's coffee shop or Starbucks coffee shop. It's going to be a big, high-end, ultra-luxury mall. Yeah, the sidewalks will be crowded. It'll be noisy. There'll be bad infrastructure. But you'll be in a big city and you'll be in a nice mall. But other than that, you may be at a loss. I recently met somebody who came to Cagayan de Oro, And they were like, Rob, this place has horrible traffic and it's loud and it's noisy and there's trash and it's like chaotic. And I'm feeling hot weather, and I don't. Where are you getting the breeze? Where are you getting the beauty? Where are you getting? How do you meet the women? He didn't do expatting like a pro. And what I want to do today is I want to create like an orientation for you on how to avoid some of these problems, how to maximize your first 7 to 10 days. The place that you initially stay is critical. So depending on where you're going, can you rely on your long-term girlfriend to refer you to a hotel that you'll be happy? Can you rely on your ability to pick an Airbnb? Can you rely on the fact that you've heard that you can get a decent hotel for $28 a night, but you could also hurt yourself? So for example, let's just use Cagayan de Oro as the city that you're coming to. You've heard me talk about it. I've showed you the waterfalls. I've showed you the view properties. I've showed you the negative edge pools. I've showed you the cold springs. I've taken you all over. But where are these places? How do you get there? If your first property is in the wrong part of town, if you book up yourself, if nobody recommends it, if nobody refers it, if you're not good at reading the hotel reviews, and nowadays hotel reviews are really challenging, you could find yourself like this client of mine who was in the wrong hotel, the wrong part of town, didn't have transportation, and it was kind of in a world of hurt and was having trouble meeting girls also. I recommend that he go here in CDO to KL Clubhouse, which is sort of a place that expats stay short and medium term. I've heard good feedback back about it. Plus it's a place you're going to meet quite a few expats. There's usually 15, 20 expats staying there. And that's my recommendation if you come to Cagayan de Oro. It's in the uptown area, the place I like that has a little bit more zoning. But he had trouble finding it on the internet, and he booked a hotel downtown. And that hotel was loud, dirty, noisy, and there was crazy traffic everywhere he went, and he was just sort of overwhelmed. You can spend like $80 a night here in the Philippines on an Airbnb. You can read the reviews. I say 4.85 or higher with 15 reviews. That's it. Don't ever deviate from that plan. And you can get yourself a decent Airbnb, and you'll read the reviews. There'll be no noise problem. The location will be good. It'll be clean. And you might spend just a little bit more to get your first few days on the ground to be nice. Another opportunity just across the way is a view resort called Ultra Winds. We've shown you these giant negative edge pools. You know, for $80 to $100 a night, you could spend 2 nights up there and immediately be high above the river, with a view of my property, a view of downtown, enjoy these crazy, look at the breezes going on behind me right now. We're having a heat wave. It's so nice out here up on the ridge, and kind of get a sense for Cagayan de Oro. Just 1 or 2 nights, a splurge on your budget. 1 or 2 nights, stay at the Quest Hotel in Cebu City. 1 or 2 nights, get a decent condo in Makati if you go into Manila. Do you really want your very first experience in Asia to be chaotic, filthy, dirty, bed bugs, no toilet seat on the toilet, a hotel with bad employees? That's not how you want to start. So you might want to start a little larger for 1 or 2 days of your budget, 3 days, settle in, get over the jet lag, be in a prime location where you don't need a taxi, you can walk to nice places, or if you do need a taxi, it's not that much money here in the Philippines if they're on the meter. My recommendation is before you come to the Philippines, join the expat community for the cities that you're going to attend. Try and introduce yourself. Let them know, like, I will be in Cagayan de Oro June 1st. I'll be there for 3 weeks. I'm looking for a driver. I'm looking for, do you have a driver? Do you have somebody you use who's got a clean taxi, who speaks English, like Joseph? I'm gonna put, like, we have a driver. After like taking 50 taxis here in Cagayan de Oro, we met Joseph. He's around 40. He speaks good English. He worked as an OFW. He's pleasant. The taxi's newer. It's not creaking. It's not falling apart. He's very pleasant and reliable. Go ahead and call him up in Cagayan de Oro. But anywhere you go in the expat community, people will give you a recommendation if you ask. So figure out your transportation. If you're going to rent a motorcycle, well, that's freedom. I mean, personally, I had a Harley Fat Boy for 10 years, a giant motorcycle in America, but I'm just not willing to drive a motorcycle here in the Philippines or put Chrissy on the back of one. She's been down twice on motorbikes. You know, I find it a little bit treacherous here, and I think there's a strong chance you'll go down eventually if you're on a motorbike. However, boy, oh boy, you will solve so many problems if you have a motorbike, because most things in the Philippines are very inexpensive if you can get to it. So going up to the waterfalls, going up to the cold springs, going up to the view, like you don't have to spend 80 bucks a night to stay in Ultra Winds, $100 a night. It's only 200 pesos to use the pool weekdays. If you have a motorbike, zoom up you go for 2-3 hours, and it's less than $4 to use the giant negative edge pool. So there's so many things that you can do, and your biggest expense quite often is the transportation. Now, if you haven't decided that you want to rent a motorcycle and you can get around on jeepneys if you want to go like a local. Taxis are crazy cheap, especially if they use the meter, and you can find a real taxi driver who will go for half a day. The rate here in CDO is 3,500 pesos for a full day. Now, if you're going to go up in the mountains and down these treacherous roads, you know, Joseph charges a little bit more for extreme circumstances, but typically it's 3,500 pesos for a full day, and you can go to Iligan and back. As long as you're not going up in the mountains, that's pretty much the rate. He'll pay for the gas, provide the taxi. It's like a 12-hour day. You're covered. And you can book a half day, it's probably about 2,000 pesos. So, you know, if you're new and you haven't met a girl yet, knowing a good driver, starting out in a good property, being able to go look at other properties, look at other Airbnbs before you rent them, check out other low-price hotels. If you want to try a $28 US dollar per night hotel, you can find them. They'll have a pool and internet often, but you might want to check them out first. Make sure there's not a rockin' karaoke spot across the street. Make sure it's clean. Make sure there aren't dogs barking Saturday night at 10 o'clock and all night long. You might want to have that check it out. Or you can ask the expats. When you join the Cagayan de Oro expats, Baguio expats, CDO expats, Dumaguete, go on Facebook and join these groups. Another thing you can do is you can join Philippine expats with approximately 60,000 members. Just go on Facebook, type in Philippine expats, look for the group that has approximately 60,000 members, join it. Be careful when you type a question, because there's trolls in that group and they will rip you apart if you have a grammar error or you say something silly. But they're very, very, very helpful. And all the point-to-point questions can be asked, and it's searchable. So the question's probably been asked before. Where can I rent a motorcycle in Cebu City? Where should I stay in Baguio? What excursions should I do if I'm staying in Bohol? It's all there. It's all there. Make sure you resource those finds before you come to the Philippines. Be a member of these groups. So you not only need your banking and your debit card and your cell phone and your SIM card, you need to know where to stay, and not just because you're good at reading hotel.com or you're good at reading Airbnb. Get on the Facebook groups and ask people for their recommendations. Now, one of my other tips is, if you can figure out the schedule for the expat meetups. Here in Cagayan de Oro, we have a meetup every month. And right now, it's not published yet for the month of May. We've just started May. I don't know the date when the group administrator will announce the date and the location. But I guarantee you could contact him and he would give you an estimate. Well, it's most likely going to be on the 18th this month or the 20th, but I haven't picked a place yet. Or it's already published. So if you know you're coming to a particular city, find out when the expat monthly meetup is and get yourself there, meet the other expats, and start to develop a network that will advise you. And you will find people, if you tell them, hey, I want to go up to the cold springs, it's a $20 taxi if I book it for half a day. Or it's 2,000 pesos, $40 for half a day. Do you want to split it? Are you interested in golfing with me? Do you want to go bowling at the mall? Do you want to go to Iligan and see Tanago Falls? Do you want to go and go to the beach out in Initao? Do you want to get a meal? Do you want to go eat Korean barbecue? Get integrated with the expat community if you're coming solo and you don't have a strong hookup yet with a girl. Make sure you're integrated with that expat community. You want to go to church on Sunday? You don't want to go alone. The expats will tell you, any expat will tell you to join, come with him to his church. All you got to do is ask, and you don't have to ask in person. You can just ask it right on the Facebook group. You know, I do consulting for a very nominal fee, and whether you're coming to CDO or whether you're coming elsewhere in the Philippines, just a 90-minute session with me discussing your plans, checking on your to-do list, checking on your travel list, making sure that you have everything in place to make your initial orientation visit go well, it can really help. And a lot of people who expat like a pro have come to the Philippines, and you know, I've met with them, I've had coffee with them, I've introduced them to my buddies. They're out walking with my buddies in the morning, they're going to church with my buddies, they're golfing. We had one expat that came to town last week and contacted me, and my card game is not always at my house. Sometimes it's at my friend's coffee shop. So we had him join us at the coffee shop. He ended up playing cards with us because we had a cancellation. He golfed with Ivan Tuesday morning. He golfed with me and Jim on Thursday. He knows people here in town. Next time he comes back, he knows people, not just the girl that he's seen, but he knows people. And that's how you expat like a pro. You integrate with the expat community, and you don't just rely on your Filipina to tell you what's a good restaurant or where to go. You get on these Facebook groups, you meet people right away, you meet them even before you show up, and then when you show up, you meet face to face. Be careful about too expensive and too cheap. I have one client who went to a resort town and spent huge money, you know, $150 a night for a resort. I just don't think that's worth it, especially when you haven't met that Filipina in person. You can find a really nice place for $75 US if it's a resort town. So too much money can be a problem, but too little money can be a problem too. You can get too much noise, too much traffic, too much karaoke, too much bed bugs, too much filth. Unless you know the property, unless it's been recommended to you, you could end up paying too much or too little. And so be careful about those extremes, especially in your orientation 7 to 10 days. Again, your first 3 days is not the time to be a cheap Charlie, in my opinion. One of the things that you can do, in addition to, if you're really at a loss and you don't know who to meet and nobody has really gotten back to you on these Facebook groups, when you say, hey, I'm coming to town, or hey, I'm in town, is anyone, you know, a lot of people say, I'm in town, is anybody wanting to meet for coffee? I'm a new expat from Pennsylvania, is anybody in town up for a coffee? Hey, if anybody wants to meet me, I'll buy them lunch, I just want to get lay of the land. I've seen that quite often. You can also go to the Bureau of Immigration. There's always going to be a Bureau of Immigration, and there's usually a bench out front of the office, and if you just sit there for an hour or 90 minutes, you're going to find 5 or 10 expats coming and going who are willing to say hello and give you a couple of pointers and just make you feel like you're at home and get some good conversation. And then coffee shops. Philippines is starting to develop a coffee shop culture. There's a time of day you can go to Bo's coffee shop and you'll find 5 to 7 expats sitting there chewing the fat, and I'm sure they would be welcome and they would allow you to join in. Here in Cagayan de Oro on Wednesdays, from like 1 to 3 at KL Lounge, guys sit around drinking beers and complaining about this and that, and you're welcome to show up and just fit right in. The first and third Saturday of the month, there's a barbecue, there's live music, and expats tend to go there for dinner. It's a little loud, it's not that easy to mix and get to know people because people will be at individual tables, they don't stand around eating hors d'oeuvres like a networking meeting. But you can find some people there as well. And I mentioned if you stay at KL for your first few days in town, that's a good way to meet a lot of people. Show up at the expat meeting. Type into the expat group. Let people know you're in town. Ask them where to go to church. Ask them where the waterfall is. Ask them for a driver. Ask them where you can go golfing. Ask them if there's a bowling alley. Ask them if there's a billiards hall. Ask them if you can play table tennis somewhere. And talking about that, Chrissy and I yesterday went to the mall. We've been to this mall 5 times in a year. We had no clue. The entrance to this place, you wouldn't even know. I thought it was like a game, like a pinball thing for children. We went in there, it was a bowling alley. It had ping pong tables. It had beautiful billiard tables. It had a shooting range with these air guns. It had an archery range. oh my God, what a blast. Chrissy played ping pong for the first time. She went to the movies for the first time in her whole life. Wow, that leads us to our next subject, how to meet girls at the mall. Now, if you come to Cagayan de Oro, what I want to tell you is Saturday, we're having a heat wave here. SM downtown in Cagayan de Oro on a Saturday, it is just jammed full of people. And a lot of people don't have bags in their hands, which means they're not really shopping. They're just window browsing, sightseeing. There are so many women walking around with their girlfriends there. So how do you pick? And I'm going to go through 5 ways to meet women in a mall. And it's going to come back to the bowling alley, the ping pong, the billiards, the archery, the shooting range, the coffee shops. So imagine you're at the SM Downtown Mall. Not only are there restaurants, food courts, coffee shops, there are activities that Filipinos would love to do. People like Chrissy, they never played a game of table tennis. So you're going to go to the mall. In addition to being online, I always recommend you have, a subscription to one of the popular online dating sites. And you're going to go to the mall and you are going to look your best. You're going to smell good. That doesn't mean a lot of perfume or anything like that. Just make sure your nails are clean, look your best, have confidence. The fact that you're 68 or 70 years old, forget about that. You are the man. You are the prize. You have status. They all want to meet you. So you're going to be at the mall. Now, how do you greet women at the mall? Sometimes it can be hard to direct a woman just spot on, one-on-one, come right at them. So as a rule, you always want to approach a woman from a 45-degree angle. You don't want to be as confrontational. Before approaching, you want to flirt with your eyes. If you're in a coffee shop, if you're in a part of the mall, if she's waiting for a friend and you're browsing around and pausing, catch her attention with your eyes. Not creepy, but use your eyes to flirt with her. See if she's responsive. When you look at her, wait for her to look back at you. When she looks back at you, turn away and look somewhere else for a while. And then repeat that. Look at her again. When she catches you looking at her the second time, this time wait a little longer before turning away. Continue this until it's obvious that she's caught your eye, and then make your approach. And using the direct method, come at a 45-degree angle and just say to her, I had to come over and tell you how beautiful you were. You really caught my eye. So that's just the direct, use your eyes, approach from 45 degrees, tell her she caught your eye, she's beautiful, and see whether you can begin a conversation. Number 2, ask for fashion advice. Even if you're not in a store. Now, if you're in a store and she's looking at clothing and you're looking at clothing, just walk right up to her with a piece of fashion and ask her advice. Tell her, is this a good color for me? Do you think this fits? Do you think this is fashionable? Do you think this is something I should wear? Just ask for fashion advice. Hold the item that you've purchased or you're thinking of purchasing up next to your face and ask her if it looks good with your eyes. When she answers you, tell her thank you. Try and continue the conversation by saying, oh, you have beautiful eyes also. Your eyes are spectacular. You have really interesting, eyes. Try and keep that conversation going. If you're not in a store, ask her you can come up with a fashion advice question. You could tell her, hey, I need a place to shop for shoes. I need a place to shop for a new, for a swimming suit. Do you know of the type of store here in the mall? Is there a place I should look? Who sells good items? I'm new. I'm just new in town. I've just arrived. I don't have any idea where I should shop. Ask and see if she has any recommendations. Another way is just to be very direct and just walk right up to a girl and say, I'm sorry to bother you, but I had to come over and say how beautiful you are. I just needed to say that you got my attention. I'm here to tell you how gorgeous you are, how beautiful you are, and I wondered whether I just wanted to come say hello. Be very direct if you feel it. Try and stay calm. Don't be too aggressive. Try and stay within yourself. Be yourself. If you're nervous, go ahead and tell her you're nervous. Tell her, oh, I had to come over and say how beautiful you are, but I'm so nervous. I never do anything like this. I just landed in the Philippines, and I can't believe how beautiful women are here, you in particular. And if she's with a group, it's a good idea to talk to her friends first. Start with her friends, befriend them, ask them questions. If she's with a group of 2 or 3 girls, say, oh, excuse me, ladies, I just had to come over and introduce myself to your friend. So you want to address the group. You want to interact with the group first if you can. And you might say, oh, you know, I just had to tell you, you light up the entire mall with your smile. You know, some corny pickup line, something, but you know, first address the friend. When you first approach a woman in a mall, she's going to be a little suspicious as to why you're coming up and talking to her. So you want to engage in conversation before you ask for her phone number, before you ask her to join you for a coffee, now, if you're in this mall in Cagayan de Oro, you can ask her if she's ever played table tennis before. You can ask her if she knows if there's a bowling alley. Does she know if there is any place to play billiards in the mall? Maybe she doesn't know. And then you could show, oh, there's a website I was checking. I thought it said there was somebody here. There was a place here. Have you ever played billiards? Have you ever played table tennis? You can start the conversation and lead them to the activity you want to take them to. If you're not busy, you know, we could play billiards right now. If I'm right and there is a place here in the mall, we could figure out where it is, where we could meet for, you know, you can just get their phone number. But make conversation first. It's okay to tell them you're a little nervous, you don't usually do this, but you ask with confidence. Don't let them see that you lack confidence. So you have to be confident when you do this. One of the best things you can do is end the conversation first. You know, when you first talk to a girl online, when you first talk to a girl in person, it's a very good thing to end the conversation first. And you can end it by saying, oh, I really apologize, I have a hair appointment, or I have to meet a friend, but I would love to exchange numbers with you, or maybe we could be Facebook friends, or you know, maybe you have a messenger account and we could chat with each other. I'm new in town, just a friend I can ask where to go, what to do, maybe just if I'm in a pinch. Figure out how to ask to exchange numbers or exchange Facebook friendship status. One of the things you can do is just invite her for coffee at the mall. If she's with girlfriends, it's going to be kind of hard. If she's by herself, it's possible. Can I buy you a cup of coffee at Starbucks? Can I buy you a cup of coffee at Bo's? You're not interested in coffee? Okay, you know, there's a bowling alley upstairs. You know, I think going to play bowling or table tennis or billiards is a little less intimidating than sitting across the table and having a cup of coffee and having to make conversation. Even a movie might be something that they might like. They may, like Chrissy, have never been to a movie theater in their whole life, and you don't have to really talk to anybody during a movie. So if they're not available for coffee, if they're not available for ping pong, see if you can get their phone number. And then Chrissy says, ask directions. Well, Chrissy, I talked about how to expat like a pro. What do you think?
Well, that will be a really big help to these men that are watching right now.
And Chrissy, what did you think about my ideas for how to meet a Filipina in a mall?
Well, it kind of like, it will work when you do the right way, but if you're not going to do the right way, then it will not work.
And Chrissy, you always say, ask them where the Jollibees is.
Ask them where the Jollibee is.
And if they are married or have a boyfriend,
they will just walk away.
And if they are interested, they'll say...
They will stick there
and ask you
questions.
Like, where's your girlfriend?
I think I just relate it to myself. Like, if I'm single and someone is asking me where's the Jollibee and he's also like alone and I will be interested, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stick with you and I'm gonna instruct you where to go and I'm gonna offer if I can direct you where it is.
Expat like a pro.
Only here in Fly Me to the Philippines.
Join us next time.
See you in our next video.